So today me and my team decided to create an absolute banger for you guys once again. Today we have another tier list, and today's tier list is going to be regarding the black pill community. The bone mashers, the penis mashers, whatever you can think of, they mash everything and everyone. So today we're going to be breaking it down. Today we're going to be taking a look at people like Clavvicular. We're going to be taking a look at people like the ASU Frat Leader and Jennick. Those are the most popular ones. However, we're going to get into a deeper dive of people who are not as talked about anymore. And without further ado, let's list the rules. The rules for today's video are very simple. If you are a person of the white culture, you automatically drop a tier because white people win at everything, and it's just not fair. It's not a fair head start, not the fair head start we had in this country. So today's statistically analytical video is going to be based around that. And in my personal opinion, I think that people like Clavvicular don't deserve S tier anyway, but it is a good example of someone who's white. So even if I did want to give him S tier, the best tier he could get possibly is going to be A tier. If you're new here, go ahead and leave a like and subscribe. And without further ado, let's take a look at this amazing tier list that I've created. Another rule that I forgot to mention earlier is if you are over the height of 6 foot, you also automatically drop a tier. So if you're a white guy who's 6'3", the best tier you could possibly get is B tier. Just because I think being tall is extremely weak. I think if you're a tall person, you don't deserve to have rights. However, we're not going to get into that in this video. Go ahead and let us know what you think of videos like this in the comment section, please. It takes us a while to make these videos. It takes us a lot of editing, a lot of, steps, and, the thumbnail itself. So it takes us a lot of work to do this. So if you're new here, go ahead and leave a like and subscribe. Please share this video with friends and family. And also, please let me know how you guys like the editing in this video. This video should be a little more chiseled than the rest. Me and my team are working harder to produce better bangers for you guys every single day. If you're new here, I'm also doing a push-ups challenge for subscribers, and at 10,000 subscribers, I will be going bald. So go ahead and remember that. Go ahead and subscribe. And without further ado, let's hop right into this list. Today's tier list is starting off in an absolute banger, an absolutely amazingly terrible person. A person who I personally don't like, but we're keeping this professional. We're keeping this statistically, analytically correct. And part of that is we have to, exclude our opinions, exclude our personal feelings. So the first person on today's list is going to be Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate has been a part of the black pill community for a very long time now, almost 5 years. I think maybe even 6, maybe even 7. If you guys don't know him, he's essentially a streamer or a TikToker, YouTuber, Instagrammer, whatever you want to put him as. He's a social media influencer that preaches, how to be successful with women, how to pull all the ladies in the world. Some people like to say he looks a little bit like Mr. Clean, which is honestly a pretty good reference, but in my personal opinion, he looks more like an asshole. Andrew Tate is a washed up boxer. If you guys also don't know that, he did kickboxing, and when he was young, he was pretty good, but he thinks he's still great, and he, boxes people my size. For those of you that also don't know, he is 6'3" in European, so automatically he drops 2 tiers. And in my personal opinion, Andrew Tate has, a lot wrong with him. And once again, keeping my opinions out of this to stay as professional as possible. But statistically speaking, he's not a great person. Statistically speaking, he has a lot of allegations, which, as you guys know, do not fly really great in the statistical, analytical tier list that I make for you guys. It just doesn't fly well. And with him, I think I'm going to have to drop him directly on C tier. Now, the reason I'm dropping him on C tier right in the middle and not lower is for one simple reason. I think there are people that are worse on this list, and I think part of that is we have to keep him, somewhere afloat, somewhere in the middle. And C tier seems like an appropriate spot for an asshole who doesn't know how to box or fight or anything of that nature, and that's what he preaches. Another thing that I also led into with my last point is that Andrew Tate is also a poser. He's a poser in general. He faked his boxing career per se because he thinks he's great, and he posted videos on Instagram of him boxing, and he lost to someone trash. He lost to someone terrible. So seeing Andrew Tate lose just proves my point. But however, let's move on to the next candidate. And we're keeping our hot streak going. The next competitor on the list is going to be none other than Clavvicular. Clavvicular is an infamous streamer. He's famous on Kick, he's famous on Instagram, he's famous on TikTok, and he's famous on other platforms where, he's easy to get clicks. No one actually sits there and watches him for hours except a few little gooners. But the bigger problem I see with Clavvicular is the allegations that he holds. They're not necessarily allegations because there's video evidence of this happening, considering he streams everything, including his butthole. We're also going to have to keep my personal opinion out of this. He's committed some gruesome things, some of them being shooting alligators or crocodiles. I don't remember which one it is. That one's extremely recent. Also getting into, somewhat of a brawl with a woman at a nightclub. Another video that I made, I'll also link it in the description. Pretty crazy stuff, pretty insane. He's not the best person, and I think with these allegations, also another allegation that I completely forgot about till now is him running someone over in his Tesla Cybertruck. I think the real crime of that is driving a Tesla Cybertruck. I think you're extremely gay for that one, buddy. And I also think he wears shoulder pads. Shoulder pads are also also down on the black pill list. The black pill community is all about looks maxing, and yes, I understand that shoulder pads may make you look better on the outside. However, at the end of the day, we know you're just a skinny bitch, which is why you need to wear them, which is another problem. However, with Clavvicular, I'm gonna have to put him down directly on F tier. And for those of you gooners sitting at home, punching the air right now, punching the monitor, punching your phone screen, whatever it is you're watching me on, punching your refrigerator, I'll tell you one thing. Please don't beat me up. Please don't hurt me. I'm just speaking statistics, and statistically speaking, I think it's evident that he deserves nothing better than F tier. He's also a white, tall man. We do have to complete that into the equation. Now, you guys will be extremely surprised, but we're on another hot streak, with the third person on the list being Myron Gaines. Myron Gaines is an extremely chopped dude who thinks he's attractive. He thinks that him being extremely good looking and knowing how to talk to women is what gets him women. In reality, it's the fact that he's stupid rich. He got stupid rich off of being infamous, off of being an idiot, and off of lying to his viewers. He does the Fresh and Fit podcast. He claims he has over 1,000 bodies, and his butt buddy, which I'll talk about later in the video, has I think 4,000 bodies if I remember correctly, which is absolutely insane to say. And honestly, I don't think we should go off of that because I don't actually know if he's lying or not, and I don't want to, spew out the wrong information. Once again, we're trying to be as politically and statistically accurate as possible, and I think me not believing him is just not accurate, and it's also opinion based, and that's something that I have to keep out of this video to stay as professional as possible. Myron Gaines is someone that I would like to call an L Fortnite player, a bad Warzone gamer, someone who sucks at 2K. I don't know how to explain it into better terms to you guys. If he's a Fortnite player, we're talking about a bush camper level looks maxer. Because in my opinion, he's not attractive, and in most women's opinion that I've talked to about this, he's also not attractive. There's no statistical evidence proving me right or wrong. But honestly, I think we talked about Myron for way too long, and in my personal opinion, statistically speaking, everything of that nature, we're gonna have to drop him directly on C tier. We have to also mention the fact that Fresh and Fit podcast is extremely gay. Pardon me stuttering a little bit. I will get better at this as the video goes. I'm just warming up, warming up my hate, warming up my love, warming up everything that's inside me. Pause. Now guys, keep your pants on, please. I understand. We're on a 4-person streak now of absolutely banger people to talk about. And today's person is going to be none other than the infamous Sneo. When you think of Sneo, what do you think of? Do you think of a guy? Do you think of a girl? What do you think of? Because I personally, and statistics, think of just the ears and, the back of the head, because his face is fully submerged in Andrew Tate's asshole. Once again, I read this on Wikipedia. This is a fact. He sucks off Andrew Tate like crazy. He sucks off a ton of other people like crazy. He doesn't have an opinion of his own. He watches, his whole entire career is watching people, reacting to their content, and saying if he agrees or disagrees in one way or another. And also looking at the statistics, we also see that actually Andrew Tate and Sneo had a little bit of a disagreement. I think he might have bit his ass instead of eating it properly. That's fine. We can get over that though. But the reason I'm bringing this up is for one simple reason. Sneo has actually shown more professionalism when it comes to Andrew Tate's boxing excuses. When Andrew Tate boxed the, famous Chase DeMore, which is an absolute shitbox of a fighter. However, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the fact that when they got into a fight, in the boxing ring, and Andrew Tate lost, he made a ton of excuses, going as far as saying that God made him lose to keep him humble, which in my honestly personal opinion could be true, but it's not in my personal opinion, once again. And I know I'm keeping my personal opinion out of this, but statistics also prove me right. So once again, as I mentioned earlier, Sneeko's whole entire channel and entire kick stream is just reacting to other people because he's not, creative enough to create his own videos. When he reacted to that video by Andrew Tate, what he said essentially was that Andrew Tate was making a ton of excuses. He was trying to mask up, the hurt behind. And more importantly, he called him out when no one else would. Obviously, people like me called him out, but that video that I made at the time got like 2,000 views or maybe 1,000 views. So clearly it did not get to Andrew Tate. And if it did, it didn't do enough of an impact because he never reacted to me or never did anything of that nature. However, I'll tell you one thing. Calling out one of the biggest clowns, one of the biggest jesters of our, time is just absolutely insane. It's absolutely insane to do that, especially when your career sucks so much as Sneeko's. However, Sneo doing it was ballsy, which is why I'm going to have to put him on B tier. Next person on the list is going to be Walter Weekes. I think that's how you say his name. I apologize if I mispronounced it. Statistics do not teach you how to pronounce names, so I apologize. However, if you guys don't know who this guy is off the top of your mind, he is the man who hosts the Fresh and Fit podcast with Myron Gaines. I mentioned him a little bit earlier. He is Myron Gaines' butt buddy. He is an idiot who doesn't speak. He's an idiot who doesn't, provide anything for the conversations. He's there to listen and let Myron speak like a good boy. In my opinion, and obviously the statistical opinion, which always line up, he is not a very smart person, not a very gifted person, and honestly, I don't know enough about him to give him a proper rating. Now, for the black belt community, this is an absolute beta move, but his height is about 5 foot 6 inches and 1/4, which is absolutely sad numbers. It is extremely sad to be that height, and I think, him saying that he has 4,000 plus bodies just is a lie. It's obviously a lie. Obviously, you're innocent until proven guilty. However, I think he is not innocent. I think he is guilty. And as I mentioned earlier, I don't know much more about him. I would if he spoke, but he doesn't speak. Apparently, he's mute or a monk, which I respect. However, that's not what we're looking for when it comes to the black pill community, which is why I'm dropping him on C tier. I'm putting him right in the middle, considering I don't know too much about him, and I don't think this one needs much discussion. So now let's move on to the next person. The next person on the list is an absolute banger. We got Andrew Jennick. For those of you who don't know Andrew Jennick, he's the guy who frame mogs every other person. I actually personally like Andrew Jennick, considering how nice he is. He's a kind guy. You can tell he's a kind soul. He doesn't ever want to fight or press people. He just wants to talk to people. There's obviously an infamous clip going around where he talks shit to Larry Wheels, which I think is an insane thing to do. Larry Wheels would beat the shit out of him. However, that's obviously opinionated, and that's for you to decide for yourself what you think with that video. Other than that video, all I've seen is him being nice. All I've seen is him getting his wig snatched, which is absolutely sad to see. However, it's not the end of the world. I actually personally like him, but once again, keeping that out of here, people don't really have much bad things to say about him. Yes, he faked his hair. I think it's the steroids. The steroids finally kicked in, and now he's losing his hair, which obviously doesn't matter. Once again, doing steroids it's bad, but it's not as bad as it was 10 years ago. Now people respect it more, and I'm one of those people. It's statistically proven that Andrew Jennick just does not get as much hate as everyone else, and him being a white guy means I automatically cannot put him on, S tier, and him also being a tall guy automatically also means that he has to go down a tier. However, I think it is absolutely safe to drop him on B tier. B tier is a safe spot for him. I was going to give him S tier, but then I remembered we have some rules we have to follow. However, I think statistically speaking, he's an absolute professional when it comes to being a looks maxer. He's also an absolute professional when it comes to, separating the two. He's still a very nice guy. The next competitor on the list is another absolute banger. We're going to be going out with the banger on this one, considering this is the last person on today's list, and we got none other than the ASU Frat Leader. The ASU Frat Leader is an absolute mogger. He does mog. He has an absolutely great frame. Even though it's from steroids and things like that, he's a frame mogger and has a lot going for him. I did not know this. He is not an actual ASU Frat Leader. I thought he was. I really did. However, that's just a nickname. That's what he goes by. In reality, he's just some random idiot. And as much as I want to say I don't like him, the community doesn't have as many negative things to say about him. As much as my personal opinion does not line up with statistics, statistically speaking, he's not too hated. I think it's absolutely safe to also drop him on B tier. However, guys, here's the list. Let me know what you think of it. If you like it, leave a like, subscribe, and now let's film the outro. So today's video was once again extremely professional. Let me know what you think of the editing, because it takes me and my team a while to make these videos, and if you guys don't like them, I'll stop making them. However, I do also want you guys to know all of this is satirical. Obviously, I don't think half the things I said, or most of the things I said, this is all just for content. This is all just for you guys to have a laugh, all for me to have a laugh when I see the final product after my team creates this absolute banger video. Keep in mind, when I say my team, I'm talking about me, myself, and I. There's 3 personalities in me, and all of them work together to make an absolute banger for you guys. It takes me a while to edit once again. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you do, leave a like, subscribe, and as always, have a great rest of your day. Peace. Quick apology in the video, guys. I apologize that the list was extremely short. I didn't expect it to be when I was filming this video. However, it does not look full at all. My next video will have more, and it will be better and more statistically accurate. As always, once again, have a great day. Peace.